that although there will seem to be a process, the process isn't necessary. The process isn't the focal point. And that will speed up the return of your sanity.
Wow.
So what's the focal point?
The fact that the ultimate is already the fact. The end of the journey is where you are experiencing this sense of a journey that is no journey at all.
So all of this, you're not talking...
I'm sorry.
Oh.
The question was, so what is the focal point? And that's what I was responding to. Continue.
So in all of this, you are not responding to Michael, the man sitting over there on the chair, and you are not responding to Judy, the woman sitting over there on the couch, and you're not responding to Ryan, the man sitting here, all coming as individuals.
Is the chair you're sitting on wood or the couch she's sitting on fabric. It's all God, and it is meaning that expresses incredible divine intelligence and love and truth and life, even though it seems to be inanimate, and so on. All of this that could be defined as you were defining it is not the way I'm experiencing it.
And so what seems like all of us coming from disparate places tonight and for different reasons, that's all the illusion, and we are the one mind Son of God, present right here, right now, forever and ever, waiting to wake up to the fact that
you're
the
already
many is
there.
the illusion and that we are one right now
Exactly.
and right here.
Exactly.
And we all love each other to a very deep and incredible degree.
Indeed.
And it doesn't blow us away.
So Michael can't wake up without everybody else waking up. It's not an individual thing. It's the wholeness awakening.
I'm going to put it this way. There are those of the Brotherhood who are awake. But the simplest way I can put it is that our being awake is not completed until you are awake.
Because it is not separate from the oneness that is here present with us now.
That is correct. But until you are consciously experiencing it, you cannot join in the communion that is unity. And so part of our conscious experience of union is held up from being experienced because you are distracted by your processes and your commitment to your perceptions. And so, you could say we are not experiencing our wholeness completely, because part of our wholeness being experienced is your experiencing yours/ours. Yours, which is inseparably part of ours. Yours, which is inseparable from you experiencing yourself and all of us together as ours. There are those who would say that if you're awake, if one is awake, why would he bother with you? Well, because you are part of me. You are part of the infiniteness of me. And as long as that part of the infiniteness of me is insisting on isolating himself to his own private, personal interpretations of things, I can't enjoy full conscious communion with him. And so, you could say, well, it's self-serving for me to help. But it's not a selfish self-serving. It's because although you don't recognize your unity with me, I do. And you are embraced, consciously embraced by every one of us who are awake, not just me. You are consciously embraced, supportively, but not manipulatively, in your, you might say, being distracted from your distraction long enough to let something else register with you. Because that's where the communion can occur. And that's where the beginning of unity occurs. Now, we had better get into the book. And we might as well start with you.
The miracle is much like the body, in that both are learning aids for facilitating a state in which they become unnecessary.
Yes, and we're going to stop right there. They become unnecessary as learning tools. If you are looking at God and saying that isn't God, then that which you are looking at and denying the truth of becomes the point where clarification needs to occur. Therefore, that which you are calling not God becomes a learning tool. And once the learning has occurred and it is recognized for what it is, it ceases to be a learning tool. But it doesn't disappear.
So there is no sacrifice involved.
That is correct.
I don't have to wake up and lose my family and friends and all the people I love and everything that has ever meant anything to me.
Or what you call your body.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. The fact is you won't lose anything, you will have it more completely. Continue.
When spirit's original state of direct communication is reached, neither the body nor the miracle serves any purpose. While you believe you are in a body, however, you can choose between loveless and miraculous channels of expression. You can make an empty shell, but you cannot express nothing at all. You can wait, delay, paralyze yourself, or reduce your creativity to almost nothing.
Just a moment. And you may do it by becoming preoccupied with your process of awakening. Continue.
But you cannot abolish it. You can destroy your medium of communication, but not your potential. You did not create yourself.
And it's because you did not create yourself that you do not have the capacity to uncreate yourself. And it is because you did not create yourself that you do not have the capacity to to successfully think that you have created yourself and can creatively modify that creation indefinitely. Continue. Yes.
And then, therefore, I take it that we can't screw it up either. We can
Of course
delay
not.
it, we can delay it, but we can't screw it up.
You can sidetrack yourself, as in a daydream in a school classroom, but you can't make the classroom go away, and you can't make the education that is occurring there stop. That is right.
Hallelujah.
But you can miss the learning for a while.
That stupid rest.
Continue.
The basic decision of the miracle-minded is not to wait on time any longer than is necessary. Time can waste as well as being wasted. The miracle worker, therefore, accepts the time control factor gladly. He recognizes that every collapse of time brings everyone closer to the ultimate release from time, in which the Son and the Father are one.
This is important. He recognizes that every collapse of time that he experiences individually by virtue of the miracle brings everyone else as well closer to the ultimate release from time. Just as there are no private thoughts, there is no private enlightenment. Continue.
Equality does not imply equality now. When everyone recognizes that he has everything, individual contributions to the sonship will no longer be necessary.
What do you think that means? Individual contributions to the sonship will no longer be necessary.
There never have been individual contributions to the sonship.
Yes, there have. Every time you have allowed a miracle to occur, and you have become clearer, you have made a contribution to the sonship, because what I'm going to call the absence of illumination, which seems to be present in the sonship who is having dreams, becomes more illuminated. And so you have made a contribution, an individual contribution, to the increased conscious experience of oneness of the whole sonship.
Because I let my light shine. I get it.
Yeah, that's right.
When I was working with what I was
But
talking
it's
about,
interesting. It's interesting to be aware that the individual contribution you give in that instance is not because you initiated it, but because you set aside your sense of authoritative self and let God be you more clearly.
yeah, being clueless brought me there, but I had to let go of being clueless, as that's not something I can hang on to and go into that experience.
That's correct.
And when I was asking, I got which I'm finding that you are very willing to work with concepts and work with me in concepts, whereas I'm finding that my guide is not very willing to work with me conceptually. And I don't know where it came from, but I got the idea that what we're talking about was Zen. That when I was joining with the flower or with the wood that I was working
I can
on.
understand why your guide doesn't. And I'm not going to join you right now in conceptualizing it as being like Zen. Stop it.
That was a concept.
Of course.
But it's talking of somebody had an experience,
Somebody had an experience.
and then they conceptualized it,
Yes,
and then somebody wrote it down,
yes,
and somebody fixed their motorcycle using that concept.
yes.
And get over it.
But talk to me about the one who had the experience, and talk to me about the experience, and talk to me about your having the experience, and to hell with the letters ZEN or a concept. We've been talking for a number of weeks based on what we're reading in A Course in Miracles. Tonight I told you that the athlete who actually lets himself into the experience is further along than you are. Further along than what we've been talking about. Right. What we're talking about for the purpose of leading you to a point of curiosity great enough to let yourself abandon yourself to the flow, to the movement. And so, to hell with the word Zen, to hell with the words A Course in Miracles. If it doesn't register with you that we're at the bottom line talking about your abandoning your present sense of yourself and not getting hung up on the process by which this sense of yourself apparently yields to what you truly are. I'm sorry, this is me, Paul, I lost it. He's continuing. You will not begin to be engaged in the movement, the transformational movement of coming back into your right mind.
I won't be engaged in it?
No, because you'll be too self-satisfied.
Well, it felt good when I, had this experience of harmony, and I saw life as good, and, this week, that felt good.
Okay. Put simply, until you realize that it's all about an experience, and you're willing to abandon making a great deal out of your process, you won't yield into the experience, you won't engage in the experience, and therefore you will not take the first essential step, which constitutes the return of your sanity.
Damn, all them big books I read screwed me right up.
What you let them do to you, what you made them do to you, screwed you up. If they had managed to inspire you to abandon any sense of self-confidence that you thought you had, then you would not be screwed up, because you would have let yourself into that place where God can register with you and reveal to you that He is all there is of you, and that you are not anything of what you had been imagining you were.
That happened too. That happened too. That was part of the experience of some places in some books.
Yes. But what the books did to you that weren't helpful, what the books did to you that weren't, what the books did to you that wasn't helpful is the use you put the books to.
Yeah. The metaphysical models and the conceptualizing everything.
Indeed.
So we should let go to the flow, realizing that all there is God, and we're in heaven, and there is nothing bad that can happen to us. But that gets pretty hard because sometimes things look pretty scary, and that knocks us right out of this flow.
It can tempt you to get out of the flow.
So even when it's scary, we should push right ahead and say,
No, you should, pushing ahead is willfulness.
just let it come on, bring it on.
No, because what's scaring you is not what the it really is, but your misperception of it. And so you've got to stop right there where the scariness is occurring and reach beyond your spontaneous definitions based on your past experience to say, Father, what is the meaning here? Father, how do I see the wholeness of being identified here where I am afraid that lack or loss is going to occur? You must persist in substantiating the connection. Because when you become afraid, scared, it means you have already withdrawn into a private perception.
Scared is just a sign that we're out of the flow.
And out of the communion. And out of your connectedness, your connected experience of the allness of God. And therefore, not connected where the uncovering of the movement of God that has to be happening there can be revealed to you as what it really is. Yes, it gets scary, but it only gets scary to your ego.
Because we can't be harmed at all in truth because of where
But
we are.
it's scary
and
to
what we
your
are.
ego because it means that it can't be in control. And you are not honoring your ego. And that scares your ego. Because the one thing, as I've said, that the ego cannot defend itself against is disregard. So yes, it can seem to get scary. That's not inevitable. But when it does, it means that you have been willing to distance yourself from the communion and look at it all by yourself. And you've got to reverse that.
But that's what we think everybody else here is doing, because we think there is an everybody else here. And so it's hard to take the step acknowledging that there is no everybody else here, but only
The infinite
the
one
Son
that I
of
am.
God, the infinite one that I am,
Yes.
expressing as
And so the ego throws out this fantastic suggestion that you may be able to experience clarity and be in your peace in this situation, but that doesn't mean that everyone else will, and everyone else still has their mutually agreed upon definitions of everything with which they try to govern you, and that will put you at risk, and therefore it may not be wise for you to continue to yield to the flow, because it will cause you to be vulnerable. Now, the fact is that conflict cannot be experienced in unity consciousness. Conflict can only be experienced by one who is choosing to look at things by himself. And so the one who is afraid that he could be at a disadvantage, even if he is clear, because others aren't, is seeing the inevitable conflict, or is experiencing the inevitable inner conflictedness that is inseparable from having been willing to look at things privately. And therefore has lost his peace, which is the fundamental element of unity consciousness, in which, if he had chosen to stay there, he would find himself able to be utterly appropriate whether others seemed to have seen the truth or not. And that resolution will occur and vulnerability will not. But that takes trust. And that takes willingness. And it takes someone who is awake to tell you what is happening so that you can recognize it and dare to trust where you couldn't have mustered up the courage to do it based on the insufficient information you currently had. Okay. Let's continue.
When the atonement has been completed, all talents will be shared by all the sons of God. God is not partial. All his children have his total love, and all his gifts are freely given to everyone alike.
It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, all of himself. Continue.
Except ye become as little children means that unless you fully recognize your complete dependence on God.
Oh, there it is. There's the deep, dark secret that's hidden in the darkness. There it is, bold as life. Except ye become as little children means that unless you fully recognize, fully, without reserve, fully recognize your complete dependence on God. Continue.
You cannot know the real power of the Son in his true relationship with the Father.
And I won't tell you, and no one will tell you what that means ahead of time. Because your ego will grab hold of it and see it as its ultimate potential if it shuts up until you get to that realization. And to whatever degree